Well, I hope you all are having a good Saturday. It's now about 1600 hours, about 4 p.m. Mountain Time, Saturday, October 17th, 2020. I'm Roy Potter. Welcome as you come in. I know this is kind of really odd, especially since I said you weren't going to see me for a while, but these things keep coming up, and I don't know why, but I feel compelled. I think I'm going to go do something else. As a matter of fact, I was getting ready to go somewhere with my daughter and her husband, and then this thing came, and I said, I got to address this. I couldn't leave until I do. So there is a Twitter follower of mine that goes by Crow's Play One, I believe, and she put up a tweet today. Now, I don't know when she did it today, but I answered it about maybe an hour ago or a half hour ago, something like that. And I was just going to leave it at that, just my answer to her. And again, it just pushed me and pushed me, and so here we are. So let me explain what I'm going to get to. You see what the Federal Reserve is doing to you. You see how they caused this. First of all, they've been pushing the Agenda 21 for years. They've been closing down farmlands. I did a post probably about 3 or 4 years ago when I was in San Joaquin Valley, California, about how they had shut off the water and so many of the orchards and fields were dried up and the trees were dead, all for some fish that they were worried about or whatever. And now, of course, we have the fires that are devastating the farmlands. We've had the derecho in Iowa that destroyed the crops there. We've had the floods. All these different things that have been happening, and our food supply has been taking a hit. Well, in addition to that, of course, hi Roosevelt, how you doing? Yeah, nice to see you. I'm in Utah right now. Yes, Kath, VAM. So, at any rate, Trump comes in and he talks about prosperity. And of course, I've often maintained that prosperity without principle is a problem, right? I mean, I've said that. If you're, to sell your birthright for a bowl of porridge isn't a good deal. So that's been one of my biggest critiques about the president. Well, then we have the COVID-19 thing hit, right? And instead of getting a second opinion and looking at what's going on and maybe taking a very calibrated approach, and he's had all the excuses. Oh, I was trying to save lives, et cetera, et cetera. Well, more people have died because the cure is worse than the disease than if he had just let it alone, let us take care of ourselves. But anyway, so the COVID situation hit, and he shuts down the economy. Okay? Now, people will argue he didn't do it, the governors did it. Well, he issued the guidelines, and I put out a thing on Twitter today where the White House had sent a directive to several of the states telling them that they needed to start doing more restrictive measures, including fines for masks. It's already out there. I put it out on the Twitter today. Okay, along with the statement from Dr. Atlas, who is now in the White House, who says that masks don't work. And I put up a tweet to him saying, Dr. Atlas, how come we keep getting these contradictory statements out of the White House? You're saying masks don't work, but the White House just issued this to several states saying that they need to even consider fines for not wearing masks. And we know masks worn time and time and time again can cause pneumonia and other problems. So I answered that, and then, like I say, Crow's Play put out this statement that I had to answer, and the way I answered it was what I'm going to talk about here now. So basically, Trump and his task force has shut down the Western world, led the way on how to do it. We're suffering. Our people are literally going poor. They're giving up. They're losing their homes. They are not being able to get food. We have long food lines. The supply chains are breaking down. You can't even go see the dentist because of all of these restrictions, right? Unless it's an emergency, things like that. The VA is practically all shut down, for instance. But the main thing is food and money. You don't think Trump is following the evil playbook of the powers that be? He could stop all this now, as Nancy Morgan Hart pointed out when she gave the information on the New Mexico extension of the lockdowns. It's on YouTube today. You can go look at it, where they get $171,000 approximately for every patient they declare that have COVID. And so they're getting billions of dollars from the federal government, and that's above and beyond what the hospitals are getting. This is all a theft of your money. For what reason? They're taking away your food. They're taking away your money. They're taking away your freedom. They're taking away your humanity in exchange for what? Your survival. That you give yourself over to the government and become its serf, its slave. Literally. Well, where did they come up with this idea? Where did they come up with it? Let me tell you where they came up with it. And I talked about this several years ago in my religion section in the on the playlist. If you want to go back, I can't remember which one, but I covered this. I'll tell you where they got it. They got it from the Bible. Remember I said the evil uses the playbook as much as the good, and actually more so, because the children of darkness are wiser than the children of light? I've said that, right? Yes, I have. So let me read this to you. As a matter of fact, it struck Thomas Jefferson. I was going to put his quote up here, but I couldn't find it. I didn't have enough time. Thomas Jefferson was so upset with this particular scripture that he said it was evil what Joseph of Egypt did. Let me read it to you. And you tell me if this isn't what Donald Trump, the Federal Reserve, Soros, the UN, Agenda 21, Agenda 30, all of that, if this isn't it. Listen to this. If you want to read along, it's in Genesis chapter 47, verses 13 to 26. Now, you folks that don't care for spiritual or religious things, you got to understand. I'm reading from the playbook of the Luciferians as much as I'm reading from the book that comes from God. You have to know how to rightly divide the Word of God to get its meaning. So let's read out of the Bible the portion, just one portion, of how the powers that be are using this as its playbook. Okay? I already told you one, for instance, about Satan coming in and injecting his seed into mankind. And now Gates is trying to do the same thing again with changing our DNA, which is basically the same thing that happened in the Garden of Eden. Got it out of the playbook from Genesis 3. Well, let's listen to chapter 47 of Genesis, starting at verse 13. Listen to this. I don't have my reading glasses on, so if I make a mistake, okay. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. Think of Pharaoh as the New World Order, the Federal Reserve, the Rothschilds, etc. And basically the people that Trump is supporting in this thing. And when the money failed, what are we going through now? We're going to have a reset, right? And when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. And Joseph said, okay, right? Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if the money fail. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, And Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for their asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. When that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, We will not hide it from my lord how that our money is spent. My lord also hath our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my lord but our bodies and our lands. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us, get the shots, get the masks, get the tests, get the masks. Take that UBI, Universal Basic Income. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh. And weren't they already? And give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. And Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them. So the land became Pharaoh's. They're going to cause a food war upon you to make you do what they want you to do. They're already talking about moving people in from the rural lands into the cities, right? Let's keep reading. And as for the people, he removed them. What did I just say? And as for the people, I'm in verse 21, he removed them to cities from one end of the borders of Egypt even to the other thereof. There's Agenda 21, moving you from the rural areas and the suburbs into the urban cities. Only the land of the priests bought he not. The Federal Reserve, the New World Order, the Rothschilds, President Trump, the Antichrist, Egypt, meaning Israel. Verse 22, only the land of the priests bought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them, wherefore they sold not their lands. Think of Pharaoh as the Antichrist. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you. I have, not God, not God. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. Because you're now Pharaoh's slaves. God didn't save you. Joseph sold you into slavery. Just like he was sold into slavery. He didn't learn his lesson, did he? He suffers for this later. He loses his birthright. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day and your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the increase that ye shall give the fifth part unto Pharaoh, not even a tenth, a fifth. Going to get your cyber money, your digital currency. They're going to take it from you if you don't obey their little edicts. And 4 parts shall be your own, for seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones. And they said, Thou hast saved our lives. They bowed down and they were grateful that this slave master sold them into slavery. And they're grateful for it, like the people wearing their masks out there, getting the tests, taking the vaccines when they come, and the UBI. Let us find grace in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt unto this day, that Pharaoh should have the 5th part, except the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. Tell me that they're not using the Bible as their playbook. See why it's important to read this thing, even if you're not religious, even if you don't believe in God, because this is their playbook. This is their operations plan, and now they've got an operations order based on this. And that's just one example. It's Genesis 47, verses 30. I'm sorry, Genesis 47, verses 13 to 26. Go read it. And you look at what's happening today. And it's all there. It's all there. That's all I got. I'll probably have something else for you a little later. I'm not sure. This stuff is hitting me really hard. Really hard. Because we're there, ladies and gentlemen. We're in the midst of the tribulation. The beast had a wound in the head. A plague. Was revived, even though it was a deadly wound. It was healed. And now, as I said this morning, the dragon has given power to the beast, the head that was wounded, so that he reigns another 42 months. Blessed is he who cometh unto the 1260 days. Out here.